करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्तु अंधकारो वै ऋकारस्तु निवर्तकः अंधकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So in this part of the class, which we have started, we are essentially learning how to meditate. And the how to meditate is based on Vedantic meditation. Vedantic meditation. There is something special, something unique to Vedantic meditation. Nowadays, I'm very happy to see that meditation has become a household word and a household method. A lot of people are meditating, both in India as well as outside, which is good. But we as students of Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, the Sampradaya of Advaita, must understand the uniqueness of Vedantic meditation. And so this segment that we have decided to take up for half hour before the Gita class starts is to go over how to do Vedantic meditation. And this is a subject which is an important one to. So this is what would be called part of the Sampradaya knowledge, Sampradayic Vidya. It's all part of that. What is Sampradaya? Sampradaya means something which is something which is unique to the understanding of Advaita Vedanta, as apart from everything else. Okay, and so this I can go quite a bit into this detail sometime. Perhaps we'll do it, but in this context, one summary of the distinction between Sampradayik Vidya, Vedantic meditation, and others is this. In all other methods of meditation, there are one of two choices. Okay, so one is removal of all thoughts and becoming quiet without thoughts, which is the quietness is the very essence of the Atma, and so everybody has the chance to experience the quietness of the mind as by doing, like for example, in the yogic meditation. And so there, through all the steps that we have seen, yama, niyama, etc., you try to quieten the mind. Now, the issue with that is that, as you know, I'm just repeating myself, but just to make sure you're very clear about this, the issue with that is that the seed of my conclusion and my understanding as to who I am is still there. The seed is still there. Now, it turns out that when you quieten your mind, as the yogic meditation teaches very well, does a very good job of it, the effect of the seed, the sprouting of the seed is in fact well controlled. Okay, so the thoughts are like the sprouting of the seed. Let me digress for just a second on this point. I am the sprouting of the seed. This is an interesting thing that I remember, I found out from the teachings of Swami Akhandananda. And I think, and I have said that really of all of these acharyas, they are talking about the same truth. But there are certain ways of expressing it which either resonate with you or not. And so the method of presenting the same truth that others do, Atma, Anatma, Viveka, Vairagya, etc., is okay. But the way to do that is something interesting. So in that sense, I have something to say about the sprouting. So here's what Swami Akhandananda pointed out, and it just really threw a new light on this. Amazing. We see the human being being endowed with three kinds of what are called bodies. We have three bodies, right? So we have the gross body, hands, face, talking, etc. We have the subtle body, which are thoughts, ideas, impressions, aspirations, etc. And then we have the Karana Sharira, which is the causal body. So the causal body is the seed, a seed of what? So here's the thing, this should be understood. I'm just spending a little bit more time and giving you a different aspect of this sprouting that came to my mind. So the fundamental, I'm just looking at this from this new angle that Swami Akhandananda ji has pointed out. The fundamental problem is that I have made a big mistake in my life. Big mistake. Brahma. And you can call it, you can call it ignorance, whatever it is, but the big mistake is that of taking myself to be a limited being. Rather, seeing myself as an unlimited being. This is the mistake. And so, when I am born and I am given a body because of whatever reason, previous reasons of that I didn't know who I was, I'm given a body, and that body is a sthula sharira. It's something very visible through my sense organs, etc. That's very visible to me. It's because this is who I think I am. But here's the thing that I'm pointing out. This is the new thing that Swami Akhandananda ji pointed out. He says that the subtle body, which is my mind, is simply the sprouting of the thoughts that I am a limited being. You see, so this is what I'm pointing out. This is what Swamiji is saying, that it's not just a matter of, this is what we study in Tattva Bodha and so on. Human beings are endowed with three kinds of bodies. There's a gross body, there's a subtle body, and a causal body. Well, what we have to figure out is why? How? What's the connection between these three bodies? And this is what he pointed out so clearly, that really the fundamental issue is that I have made a mistake. That instead of seeing myself as a undifferentiated, not a sakshi without any form whatsoever, unlimited, formless, unborn, instead of seeing myself as that, I see myself as a born with a body. Okay? Now, here's what happens. When you see yourself as a body, how do you see yourself as a body? You have already concluded that I am a limited body. This conclusion is there because of this Brahma, because of this mistake. Now that has to be supported by logic, by ideas, by thoughts. That's the reason for the subtle body. You see? This is something really interesting to see. Ponder over it. That something is concluded, but then you have to complete that misunderstanding by all kinds of data. And this is exactly what happens in our life, is that at any step in our life, this mistaken conclusion is highlighted by all my experiences. Supported and highlighted means that, yes, I get hungry, I have to eat myself. That means that's a function of the body. Yes, I can only be here, not someplace else. Yes, thoughts of the body. So the reinforcement of this fundamental mistake, that reinforcement is done by the subtle body. And this process, this outcome of supporting and reinforcing the fundamental mistake continues on in my life. Not only in this life, in the next life, subsequent lives. It's not as though all of a sudden, you feel somehow that this is exactly what People who are very, very upset with their current life feel that somehow if I die, things will be okay. They're not. What's going to happen in the next life? Are you going to suddenly know that you are the limitless Atma? How is that going to happen? Again, the same process. You are born as some kind of a baby, and then you may not even know exactly that I am this baby, but pretty soon, in a year or so, you will say, yes, this is me. And then same thing happens. You have to support it with all kinds of thoughts. Reinforcing, I think, is a good word. You reinforce it with all kinds of subtle ideas and so on. So this will continue. It will continue forever until some conditions in your life which question to say, and this is where the Shastra gives you the hope and the understanding. We'll go into this a little bit more on the Bhagavad Gita today. It's almost like the same thing, and same issue, not the same thing, but the same thoughts that combine, link those two classes, this class and the Gita class coming up, is that this is going to continue. There's nothing else until you find, you question, am I really a limited being? This is where the teaching, the acceptance, the thinking, and then seeing it more and more clearly with a method is called the Vedantic meditation. So here, just to, so I'm really highlighting what is called Sampradayic Vidya. What is Sampradaya? We easily use this, Sampradaya somehow means which Swami are you associated with? What light of, because all of them they have some different ways of looking at things and so on. So Sampradaya here means Samyak Pradati iti Sampradaya, one which has been very clearly pointed out, truthfully pointed out, consistently pointed out from the very beginning. It's not, this is the Sanatana Dharma. Anytime when you have a brand new way of expression, this is how religions are formed and so on, unless there's really no reason for a new religion to be formed, because we can make this rather bold statement. Any new way of looking at it is false. Because really speaking, the Sanatana Dharma is the Sampradaya which is from the very beginning, which says, here is the truth. And so here how we should see is how the Vedantic meditation, that's the topic we are looking at, although we are kind of enlarging the process. How is the Vedantic meditation unique? This is what Sampradayic Vidya is. Part of the understanding of the Vedantic meditation is how is Vedanta different from others? Not different, but what is the uniqueness of it? Yeah. So the Advaitic Vedanta says, here we can even bring in, see, I'm looking at the time. Yeah, I don't think we will go into the specifics of this Nididhyasanam step, which is pranayama, which is what we are doing. So there are three different verses from Aparoksha Anubhuti, number 118, 119 and 120, that talked about the Vedantic Pranayama. This is what the topic is from last time, and we are going to keep it up. We may not even go into that. Let's see another 10 minutes or so. So here I will remind you, either was in the Saturday class or the Tuesday class, a very good method of seeing the presence of, not the presence, but the very truth of Paramatma, of Ishvara, of God. I'll just remind you of it. We went through this a few days ago. So there was a, you remember we said that Swami Akhandananda ji recalls a Mahatma, and this Mahatma means one who has a very clear idea of what is going on, who is not really taken in by the experiences. There is a complete independence of the existence of the Atma, clear to that person. This is what a Mahatma is. So you remember this talk about somebody approaching him, and I also was saying, this is a very interesting thing to point out in this context, that if you look at all spiritual thoughts, they all look upon Ishvara, God, as formless. They all do. Okay? So it's not as though we are the only ones. The formlessness of Ishvara is universal, which is correct, which is good. All the spiritual disciplines agree to that. So, so this was the context. So there was a supposedly a very advanced student of Vedanta had approached this Mahatma. His name is Uriya Babaji. And so Swami Akhandananda was saying that earlier in my life, I saw this incident and it was very influential in my thinking. So he was recalling this, that this person approached Uriya Babaji and said, Babaji, Paramatma is formless, isn't it? The Babaji said, yes, it is formless. So then he said, Uriya Babaji said, no, so the student said, it is formless and is the total world. It's not a portion of the world, it is the entirety of the world, isn't it? So Uriya Babaji said, yes. So he says then this Dvaita meaning plurality, that I am this, you are that, this is time, this is desha, this is kala, this is vastu, all these kinds of variations has nothing to do with Paramatma. So how do you explain all this? So Babaji told him, listen, there is two ways to look at the truth of Bhagavan, of Ishvara. One is that you see Ishvara. This is one. Now you see from logic and from your own experience also. Experience, our worldly experience. You cannot see the Ishvara. We never find God as an object. Cannot find it. You can find everything else, but not Ishvara. So you cannot, Ishvara cannot be present in front of you. You can never know it as a entity in front of you in your life. Okay? So that means that the other aspect is there, which is it can never be known. And if it is never known, so this is the important thing about the sampradaya, this is the uniqueness of it. I hope that I can at least convey that main point that I'm trying to do, if not all the other details about the pranayama. So what that means is, and yet people, the normal aspiration, the natural, not normal, but natural aspiration from them is we are still searching for God. In fact, the whole life is nothing but the search for God. We may not realize it. Maybe we are just searching for some security, some money, some pleasure, and so on. But behind all of that is really the search for God, in the sense, the sense of freedom where nothing bothers me. Because that is how God is defined. That God is independent of all problems. I want to be that. Where is it? So you cannot see that in your experiences. Number one, agreed. Number two, you have to visualize it. You cannot see it, but you have to have, so this is where faith comes in. This is where the ideas of heaven comes in. And this life is not possible, and so that this is where the religions come in, and they act as travel agents and say you cannot find God here, but if you believe in it, isn't it? So you say yes, we have to believe in it. Then please follow us, and maybe we'll take you to a place where you will find Him. Okay, so to close off this topic, you see this very clearly. Babaji was saying that either Ishvara is in front of you, which is not true, or Ishvara is always beyond it, because you see, you can, even the next life, same thing is going to happen. You will be in a limited being and you'll be saying, where is God? Same question will occur. So the God will always, Ishvara will always remain as an unknowable object. That means that your thoughts will be determining on maybe in the future. Maybe in the future. Somehow or the other. So Babaji was said, listen, both of these possibilities point out to the fallacy. If you see something, it is limited and inert. If you don't see something, it is subject to speculation. Means it is not possible. Neither of them is true in the case of God. So then, what do you say to this? And I think we had talked about this before. God is neither known nor unknown. It is the present, the presence, now. It is not something to be done later. So I left a lot of loose ends here. I'll have to really do next time. One of the loose ends is that the seed of ignorance will sprout up again. Even if you do the samadhi, yogic samadhi, yes, you eliminate all thoughts and you're happy and so on, but the seed will sprout up again because the seed has not been destroyed. The seed of saying, I am a limited being. So even a yogic master has not addressed this basic ignorance, who am I? Vedantic meditation addresses the seed and burns the seed so that it is not postponed in the future. It is neither known nor unknown, it is now. The practice of knowing now, the understanding of knowing now, this I am complete now, not later, constitutes what is called Vedantic meditation. So even though I went quite a bit in some detail, but at least I have closed the loop a little bit. Maybe I didn't do enough of it, but that is what Vedantic meditation is. And with that, I wind up this section of the class, and we will hopefully maybe revise it a little bit so that you are clear about what I am pointing out. And then I'm pretty sure we will be able to do it in a short amount of time. And then after that, we will go up to the 3 verses of Aprokshanabhuti that talk about Vedantic pranayama as part of the Vedantic meditation. Okay, all right. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandadhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavatveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudramarutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedaisanga Padakrama Upanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyana Vastita Tatkatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam na vidusura suragana Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. So we are doing the 29th verse of the 2nd chapter, as you know. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyaha Ascharyavat chainamanyah shrunoti Shutvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschit. So here, this word Ascharya, that we went to some length to define, a wonder, a complete surprise, incredible. You know, you say incredible. It's a good word, really. We always overuse these words. So incredible means hard to believe. So this is what Ascharya means. So we went into the definition and also some parts of it. So there we saw the basic idea being conveyed by this verse of the Bhagavad Gita is the durlabhatvam of the Atma. Even to say that is very strange. Durlabhatvam of the Atma is the main topic of the verse number 29, which is a very strange thing to see. That's also, it's like saying your existence is very hard for you to understand. Hey, this is what is called Vyaghata. So Vyaghata means that it is a contradiction itself. It's like somebody saying to you, you are not there. I am not there. What are you talking about? I am here. No, you are not there. It's very difficult for you to know that you are there. Hey, it's not difficult for me to know that I am there. What are you talking about? So here, so this is, if you just look at the introduction to this verse, which we have done before, but this is on a short introduction to verse number 29, given at the page 77. Swami Shankarananda says, Nanu bahubhihi panditaihi atmatattvam shravyate shruyate manyate cha tathapi etadrisham jnanam na kutrachit drishyate iti ashankayam mama ishvarasya shruti acharya atmanam cha prasadena vina labdum ashakyatvam iti suchayitum jigyasu shotra vaktranam cha ati durlabhatvam cha atmanah durbodhatvam pratipadayati. Beautiful. He says, what's pointed out is that despite people being able to be knowledgeable about Vedanta, talking about it and explaining all the various Upanishads and so on and so forth, still do not understand the truth about the Atma. It means it is not that easy. Durlabhatvam cha atmanaha. Durlabhatvam vadan atmanaha durbodhatvam pratipadayati. Ascharyavat. So one interesting thing Swami Akhandananda ji was saying. So this is in the Karika of this is the book that I'm reading. So there he brings in experiences of his own life and so on. So beautiful. He was saying that one time when he had really understood the whole thing and he had met all the Mahatmas, and in fact he became a Mahatma himself. So one time he was in Varanasi, and the person who is the head of the Banaras, I don't know if he was part of the Banaras Hindu University, but he was a professor, and he was a Pandita. He really knew quite a bit. He could recite the Shastras and so on, and all that came to him and said, Swamiji, in spite of my being so scholarly, I'm not a happy person. This is exactly what also is pointed out by, I think we have talked about this, where Narada, this is a real life experience. This is a real life enunciation of Swamiji meeting the head of in the Varanasi. But this is given in the Shastras also. It says that Narada was truly a Renaissance person. He knew so much. He knew mathematics, he knew the physical science, he knew music, he was an astrologer, he knew about astronomy. Just amazing. So he approached Sanat Kumara. Sanat Kumara, the four Kumaras are supposed to be the sons of Brahmaji, the very Ishvara. The Ishvara's first creation is called Brahmaji. And Brahmaji is the one who is kind of like our grandfather who created the whole thing. And so one of his sons is called Sanat Kumara. So one day, I just forgot his name just very quickly. So Narada, sorry. So what's happening to me in my old age, I'm just simple words I'm not able to recall. Narada approached Sanat Kumara and said, sir, I need to talk to you. So he says, oh, please come. So I'm very honored to, you are a great person. I've understood you have so much, you have got so much knowledge and so on. He says, sir, I am not happy. In spite of the fact that I've accomplished so much. So this is what it means. The accomplishments don't give you happiness. You become an accomplished person, money doesn't give you happiness. Swami Shankarananda was saying, he says, I cannot tell you how many Sethjis in India means one who's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of things going on and so on, the Birlas and Tatas and so on. So the heads of those, he says, I cannot tell you how many of them come to me and said, sir, you take away all my wealth, just give me happiness. And conversely, he says, I have seen people that have nothing and they are happier than anybody else. So anyway, Sanat Kumara, and this also person said, sir, I know a lot, but I'm not happy. Can you please teach it to me? So this is exactly what is called true independence joy is not easy to attain. And this is a very interesting thing. This is what is Ashcharya about it, really speaking. Why? Why do we say that? Because that is who you are. It is not something that you have to accomplish, as we were going into the details in the last class. So true happiness means Ishvara, Brahman. And Brahman is not something in front of you. Brahman is not something later, but it is you. So for you to say that I am not happy is an amazing thing. And it is all due to some confusion as to who you think you are. This is the method of sampradaya of Advaita Vedanta. So this is what is pointed out here, that the Ascharyavat Pashyati Enam, all of this is to convey the amazing thing that something which is... So this is where Swami Dayanandaji was so articulate in pointing out. And we have always, I thought that method of teaching was just an amazing thing, which is that accomplishments are one of two types. Praptihi. Praptihi means acquisition, accomplishment. Yes, I've got it. That kind of a feeling is one of two types. One is apraptasya praptihi, one which is not yours yet. But if you do something, you will be able to get it. This is one kind of prapti. But there is another kind of prapti, which means that you already have it, but somehow you don't think you have it. Praptasya prapti. It was very useful to me once that whole thing became very clear as to the types of prapti and how to go about it and so on. I remember discussing this with Swami Dayanandaji, and I said, Swamiji, that really helped me a lot. And I always use that as part of the introduction to the Vedanta. So this is the interesting thing. It is praptasya praptihi. You are the very free Atma, freedom including the freedom of the Atma, but you don't know it, and it's very difficult. So Swami Dayanandaji used to say, it's neither difficult nor easy. It is you. And yet somehow in my way of life and so on, no, it's not me, I'm just a... This is where Narada and even this Pandit from Varanasi was pointing out, yes, I'm a knowledgeable person, I've accomplished a lot and so on, but I'm not a free person. And so this knowledge, amazingly enough, is the subject of this verse, Durlabhatvam. Durlabhatvam means very difficult to appreciate. So this is part of the sampradaya we have to understand. And so we have to see, this is what, this is the teaching method of Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, is what is called Prasanna Gambhiratvam. Prasanna Gambhiryatva. It's a very interesting thing. Prasanna Gambhiryam means, we have talked about this before, in the very first teaching verse of the 11th, which is Ashocyan Anvashochastvam. In this method, what is said is that I understand your difficulty, but you say it with a smile, but don't you see, this is not true. You are the very complete person. Don't you see it? And with an empathy, it's not like saying, what, don't you see this? You must be idiot. They do want to say it, you are an idiot. But they do it in a very diplomatic manner. Please, don't you see it? And so finally, this will come, mat prasadena, this will come in a little bit later on. So let's go into it now. So this is the main point to understand about this verse is the durbodhatvam, as Swami Shankarananda points out. So then we saw up to this point मनुष्येषु शतकोटि संख्याकेषु यः कश्चित् आत्म प्रसादपि पात्रीभूतः एनं कूटस्थ असंग चिद्रूपम् आत्मानम् अद्वय अखंड आनंद एकरसं पश्यति साक्षात् कर्तुमिच्छति स आश्चर्यवत् एव भवति. So he says that amongst people who are amongst the people who aspire to understand this, there are very few people who really keep the focus on doing this. So this is where so Arjuna actually points out something, because he's been saying listen, Veda Vinashinam Nityam. All of this teaching has been said. No, you're worried about nothing. You don't have to. It's already done. You're happy. This, that. And he says that all sounds good. But if it is so easy to understand, how come everybody doesn't get it? Which is the truth in our life. How many of us are able to really focus in on who am I? Where am I going? What is the truth about it? Where is Ishvara? What's our relationship? How many of us do that? You look around, we're all busy. This is the thing, you tell somebody, how are you? Can you, this is why they say that, and I used to make that mistake when I first came in. I used to say, anybody that I will meet, I will tell them that there is this Vedanta classes going on, you please come to it, and so on. And they will, their normal response is, I'm very busy. Don't have the time at this point. Everybody is busy the whole life, something or the other. So he says, so Arjuna says, how come everybody doesn't get it? He says, if you look at this, the mathematics of it, how many people want it, how many people are continue to look into it, how many people sacrifice other things, vairagya, this is all going to come. This is exactly what it is. He says, this makes perfect sense. If you look at this, out of the 100 people, this is exactly what happens. We're doing through this Aim for Seva invitation with Rani and everybody else. And so we want to get about 25-30 people together. But you think that anybody you send the invitation to will all come? No. So you send 100 invitations, and 50 of them will not even read it. Out of the other 50, then people will say, I read it, but I don't know, I can't come. Yes, this looks good, wonderful. Very few people. So you do this math, it is not a wonder, but it is a wonder. How come people don't understand this? So here, just to kind of look ahead a little bit, three things are pointed out in this verse number 21. Three things. One is, the one who desires this ultimate freedom is a wonderful person, is a wonder. So there are three things: Ichha, Shrota, and Upadesha Vakta. This is what it says. So the first one, Ascharyavat Pashyati, is, Swami Shankarananda points this out in detail, is the one who has the Ichcha. Cha meaning the desire. This is a very important thing because as we have seen this, when we are born into this life, we are only thinking in terms of limited goals and limited results. Limited, limited, limited. This is the true nature of Dvaita. Dvaita means duality, which means plurality. Plurality means limitedness, isn't it? The very definition of plurality means that I am just one person. The world is huge and it consists of many limited things. Sometimes the limitation and my needs meet, in which case I'm happy. Sometimes it doesn't, often it doesn't. But regardless of all that, my whole life is nothing but limitation, limitation, limitation. And I try to remove it as much as possible, but it comes back again. So my coordinates of life are all about limitation. And so the other thing is that, okay, if I'm satisfied with the limitation, then I should not aspire for non-limitation. That's not true. Despite the fact that my whole life is nothing but enveloped in the coordinates of limitation, I want to be unlimited. And it's not as though I can easily express this, that, I want to be the unlimited person. You never say that, and you never even think that. But subconsciously and even unconsciously, that is what we aspire for. We don't want to really, life seems to be just a journey. You go from place to place, you rest for a while. This is exactly what happens in our life. If you look at the people, they'll all say, I want to go on a vacation. Okay, go. Where are you going to go for? This, I understand, Iceland is the place to go to. Okay, all right, go to Iceland. You go to Iceland, which is, I've heard from people, I don't know, it's a very beautiful place and there's greenery and mountains and so on. Okay, so did you go there? Yeah, I went there. That was such a wonderful thing. You want anything else? No, it was great. How long does it last? Iceland is, how long can you stay in Iceland? In fact, if you were to give a real choice, do you want to stay in Iceland or do you want to go back to the Bay Area? You'll say, no, I think I'll go back to the Bay Area. So Iceland is limited. I remember this when I retired from Hewlett Packard. I took early retirement, and so my wife and I were both thinking, and so we used to we had gone into Hawaii many times, and we really loved Hawaii, even now. And we used to think, maybe we should just move here. A lot of people do. Just move to Hawaii. And, but Bhagwan has given me some good sense. A little bit good sense. We both sat together, my wife and I, Pami and I, and we said, how will it be if we just live in Hawaii? There are no seasons, there's no summer, no winter, no ice, snow. is the same every day. Who are going to be our friends? Local Hawaiian people? Don't have a lot of common with them. Other friends, relatives, children, nobody is there. So we said, no, we're not moving to Hawaii. Once in a while we'll come here. This was supported by an actual experience of a friend of mine. He and his wife both moved to Hawaii. They sold up, no, they did not sell anything, but they moved to Hawaii. After 2 years, they came back. Anyway, I'm just digressing a little bit, but the point is, even though we don't aspire for infinity, for being unlimited, it is very much there behind our actions. We don't know how, but we would love to. What changes from this situation is meeting someone which says it is possible. It is possible to go beyond that. And if you are in the right situation, you grasp it and say, really? I mean, this is what happened to me when I met Swamiji, Swami Dayananda, and Swami Chinmayanandaji and Swami Dayananda, where through their personality and the setup and their presence, their sincerity, I said, yes, this is possible. Changed my life. Then you aspire to it. This is what is called, one of the three things called Ichha. This is all from here. In fact, let me, if you want to. Just a second. Yeah. We already read this sentence, so it will be familiar to you. This is on the main section on the verse number 29. On this book, page 78, the second line, remember? Yatha Hanumataha, Hanuman, Samudra Langanam, Tadvat. He says, just like, this is the Ashcharya, we went through this last time, that Hanuman said, I can fly to Sri Lanka. Samudra Langanam. Tadvat, in that manner, Sarva Vishaya Asha Pasham Nirdahya. So this is a very interesting and important thing, and I pointed this out in the section on meditation earlier. But let me now spend a little bit more time on this. This is interesting. But anyway, I'll come to that in a minute. But let me finish this sentence and talk about the Ichha. Yatha Hanumataha Samudra Langanam Tadvat Atra. Atra means in this life. Not Ramayana and so on, but present in our day-to-day life. Atra Sarva Vishaya Asha Pasham Nirdahya. Anyway, I'll come to that a little bit later on. Moksha Ichha Karanam Ashcharyam. So this is the first of the three Ascharya, Moksha Ichcha. Moksha Ichcha means that the desire to become unlimited. Remember all the things I was talking about earlier, that really all I see is nothing but limitation, limitation, limitation. Everything is plurality, plurality, limitation. Plurality means limitation. You do something, you get some, you are hungry, you had breakfast, and it lasts, your hunger goes away for a few hours. That comes back again. Then you have to have lunch. Then it's time to go. Life is passing. Then limitation, limitation, limitation. But in and through this, if it is explained to you that it is possible, that is an Ascharya. For me to even have that Ichcha. Okay, so in fact, let me finish this sentence and then I will summarize it. Moksha Ichcha Karanam. Moksha Ichcha Karanam. Karanam means the means to know that I am unlimited is a wonder. Then he says, Moksha Ichchayaha Ati Durlabhatvat Bahujanma labhyatvat bahu punya paripakat sadhyatvat chitta prasada ekamulatvat cha santirna ashesha vishaya asha sindhum shuddhatma moksha eka kamaha mumukshuha iti durlabha. Anyway, I'll go into the details in just a second. But just to summarize, there are three Ascharya which is being pointed out in this verse. Ascharyavat pashyati enam, kaschit enam. So the one who does an Ichcha for moksha is an Ascharya. This is an Ascharya because in the entire gamut of our life, you cannot think of infinity. You only think of finity or finitude. Finitude, sorry, not finitude, but finitude means sense of limitation. But to have a sense of unlimitation is an Ascharya. So this is the first one, Ascharyavat pashyati kaschit enam. And the one who teaches you this, to find someone who can actually convince you of this is also a wonder. The Upadesha Karta. This is exactly what happens, I tell you. Because you would think that if you were to explain this, people should flock to you. And that doesn't happen. But it is amazing that you are able to at least go through with some people, or even to yourself and to some people. Shrota. Vakta. Then, so the second one is Vadati. So the second one is, so three of them is what? Let's summarize this. Ichcha, Vakta and Shrota. All three of them is Ascharya. The one who desires, the one who talks and teaches, and the one who listens, attends classes, and makes an attempt to understand. All three of them are a wonder. All three of them are a wonder. This is what is pointed out. Then this line that we just do, now we can go back to this. The line points out the durbodhatvam. Why is it so difficult? So now we can go back to this. Sarva Vishaya Asha Pasham Nirdahya. Just one second, I want to see the word Nirdahya. It doesn't explain this. In Hindi, in the translation by Bhole Baba, the Nirdahya is not pointed out. Just a second. Oh yeah, there. It says, yeah, that's what it is. Jalakar. Okay, I now got it. I was looking at the wrong place. So this is, now let's focus on, I'm sorry I'm taking so much time on this, but this is what I want to do. Sarva Vishaya Asha Pasham Nirdahya. This is a very, very key part of this whole thing. Nirdahya means to burn. Pasha means the ropes that bind you. You know, like supposing you bind somebody with ropes completely. You cannot move your arms or nothing. These are the limitations that bind you, the ropes that bind you. And what are the ropes made out of? Sarva Vishaya Asha. The hope of any kind. Sarva Vishaya here means Sarva Prakara, all kinds of Asha. This is an interesting thing to see. So just look at that. So here you can do the hopes. Asha means hopes. Hope. And hope is the rope that is binding you. Sarva Vishaya Asha Pasham. Hopes are the things that are binding you. So these hopes can be divided into one of two kinds. One is negative hope and one is positive hope. Negative hope means kind of like hopelessness. We often see this. Now I am seeing this more and more, where the older people just want to die. They have lost all hope that I can be happy in this life. They are bedridden, they are a burden on their family. And we have seen that so many times. Now I'm seeing more and more as I'm also growing old, and my friends and older people, I can see this. My father used to say this, I don't see any reason for living. I think I should, just take it, just take me away. Swami, that reminds me of Swami Dayananda's. He used to give this example over and over again. So there was this grandmother who said, Oh Vishnu, please send somebody to take me away because I am now a burden on the family and I'm not useful to anyone. I cannot even cook in the kitchen. They don't allow me to go to the kitchen, etc. So I'm not very useful. Just take me away. And used to pray that every day. I remember my father, he would not do it over and over again, but he would say that. He says, I don't understand. So this is called hopelessness. So Swami Dayanandji gave this example that this grandmother who just wanted to leave was sitting down one morning and she saw Lord Yama. And Lord Yama is depicted as being frightening looking. He's got glowing eyes and he's got all dark things and he's holding all in his hand, and he suddenly comes and he says, okay, Amma, your wishes are my command. You've been asking me to come and take you away. I'm ready to take you. Let's go. Amma said, what? Oh gosh, it's only 7 o'clock. I haven't had breakfast yet. This is the situation. So hopelessness is one kind of hope. Okay? This we all can relate to. Yes. And you feel that, I don't think I'll ever be that hopeless. Well, there are people who are... I saw this figure somewhere, the number of suicides that are done every day. Some huge number, I think it went into thousands. 1,000 plus people commit suicide every day. They are all because of hopelessness. So hope is one of the pashas. Now comes the interesting one. The other part of hope is positive hope. So according to the Shastras, all kinds of hope, whether they are negative or positive, are nothing but a pasha. Well, how can a positive hope be a pasha? This I don't understand. This is a very key thing to really understand the sampradaya that we are studying. Positive hope means I am not happy now, but I hope to be happy in the future. This is the positive hope. Negative hope is that I don't think I'll ever get any better than this. I've tried everything and now it's time to end. I got married, I had children, grandchildren, etc. I'm still the same. Nothing more. This is hopelessness. Hopefulness is his grandmother who said, I haven't had breakfast yet. I haven't said goodbye to everybody yet. This is positive hope. But more than that, our life, this is a very central part of the teaching of our gurus. Swami Dayananda used to say this. He says, this is a very important thing to see. What is an important thing to see and how? You conclude continuously, I am not well now, but I will be in the future. And why is this a pasha? Why is this a sense of limitation? Because the very conclusion that I am not well now and I will be in the future if I did this, if these things happen to me. This kind of thinking is faulty. Why is it faulty? Doesn't look like to be faulty. Isn't this what we are all supposed to be doing? Getting better and better and better? No. You will never be better. You'll never be better. You may be better than now, granted, maybe for a while. But are you any better? You know, this is a very very important teaching of Vedanta about Hinduism and so on, which says that equating progress in the world of making more money, GDP, development, developed country, and so on, is not going to help. This is a false way of looking at things, which we all normally feel. That if we can be like another, in India we used to say that maybe be like America. Now we say, can we be like the Chinese, who have a developed country, almost like a developed country? We feel very undeveloped compared to that. The Hindu has been saying, please, please, please. Has development ever resulted in a sense of well-being and happiness? Maybe for a short time when you don't have to worry about food and this, that, or the other. You can buy it from the groceries. You don't have to grow your own. So there are some limited reasons for being happy. But fundamentally, the sense of being unhappy will not go by development. In the old days, where it was undeveloped, but it was dharmic, was better. You just ate what you could, earned what you could, be happy with you. Anyway, but let's not go into that. But so here, so the positive hope is also a pasha. Why? Because this state of beingness, that I am not okay now, but I will be in the future, is the seed of ignorance. If this is the seed of ignorance, then what is it that I need to do? What do you expect me to do? I'm not happy now. And is it natural? Is it not natural for me to aspire for something better? The answer is not really the way you think. What do you mean by that? And what is the answer to it? You should question the premise of your life. The premise of your life has two parts to it. One part is that I am not completely happy now. Okay, so you should question it. And with the help of the Shastra, you have to question it. Why? Because my experience tells me that it is true. If I were to tell you that this is wrong, you'll say, why? I do feel not complete. I do feel problems. And so isn't it what it is? Isn't it an accurate representation of what my life is? Shastra says no. Why? Because you're throwing the baby with the bathwater. It is not accurate to say that you are not completely well. It is accurate to see that what you think you are is not happiness. We agree with that. The state of your mind and your body, etc. But you are not the mind. You are punishing the wrong person. Your identification is not accurate. It is just like a dream-like thing where things can be happening, but that's not you. So the very premise of positive hope is wrong. The very premise of all hope is wrong. It is really just an imposition which is not true. So therefore, a life which is based on postponing rather than questioning the very basis of the postponement is wrong. This is the meaning of this word. This is what is said. Sarva Vishaya Asha Pasham Nirdahya. You have to burn the ropes of Asha Pasham. This Asha. Asha means a desire for. Desire means a future. See, the very essence of the word desire means a giving up of the reality of as you are now. I am not happy now. You have to just pause and say, wait. So the Shastra, with the help of Guru and so on and so, will say, stop. Don't go to the next step where you say, I am not happy now, therefore. He says, no, don't go to therefore. Are you unhappy? Do you know who you are? Do you know the difference between Atma and Anatma? The premise itself is faulty. That's what you have to see. So, that's why he says, Sarva Vishaya Asha Pasham Nirdahya. Then comes a long list. Okay, I see what you're telling me. I may not be able to see exactly what you're telling me, but I'm willing to clarify it. So what do I have to do? So he says that this covering that you have on top of you, which prevents you from seeing yourself, you just have to remove that covering. And how do I remove this covering? By understanding this is a false covering. Just like a dream is a false covering on yourself. And so in that premise of, we were talking about Ishvara as being neither in front of you nor something in the future. You see, that's it, all ties down together. You cannot say that Ishvara means my sense of being unlimited. This is what we say, the whole goal of life is to find God. The goal of life is not to find God as, how does it help you? How does it help to find God? How does it help? Supposing you find God and you say, found Him. That's it. How does it help you? Okay, describe yourself. Are you hungry? Yes, I'm still hungry. So how does the knowledge of God that, this is God, how does that help you? It doesn't. So finding God means finding the qualities of God. Qualities of God means freedom from all problems, sarvagatvam, sarvasakshitvam, and never been not limited by time. This is the quality of the God. I want to have that quality. Good. You want to have that quality, and you have that quality. I have that quality. How? I don't understand it because I'm a limited person. What you have to see, you're not a limited person. You're not a room space. You are the total space. So he says that unfortunately you've got so many coverings on top of you. It's like unfolding. You take one, the light of the sun is there in your room, but you've got so many different things. All your windows are closed, and then you've got on top of that another something. And so if you just keep on opening it, you find that really speaking, you are the light itself. Anyway, I didn't go through this very well. So he says, so let me just finish this in the time, then we'll go to the next section, next time. So he says, Yatha Hanumataha Samudra Langanam Tadvat Atra Sarva Vishaya Asha Pasham Nirdahya Moksha Ichha Karanam Ashcharyam. So that's the first step. Then Moksha Ichhayaha Ati Durlabhatvat, because the moksha ichha will come after you have gone through some lives of punya and papa. Punya and punya. So here, anyway, so I wonder if I should go into all the details or not. So I think I'll continue next life, but I think I'll just make one comment which is relative to Sarva Vishaya Asha Pasham. So just to see the extension of that the old vasanas from Papa Karma is also an impediment. In other words, you've got so many problems in your life, physical problems, mental problems, and so on, that you're not able to really see this fact very clearly. This is true. Unless the body is healthy, you cannot listen to all of this. So this is called Papa Karma Pasha. So there's a hopelessness comes in from similar to that is the Papa Karma. The phalam of Papa Karma is problems, so many problems that you cannot see this. Punya Karma is equally a passion. That's what I wanted to just mention briefly before we close the class. How can Punya Karma be a pasha? Because your worldly experiences are so pleasant that you are unable to see something in the future. You're so busy. I'm happy. Everything is going well. I've got money, I've got children, everybody's healthy and so on. Why should I learn Vedanta? Because you should learn Vedanta because you are still as part of a limited set which is not going to last, my dear. So therefore, punya karma phalam is just as of a pasha as papa karma phalam. Anyway, so spent a fair amount of time, didn't even go through number 29. I didn't think it will take that long, but what to do? Okay, so we will continue with that next time. So let me just say, close the class with a prayer. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So the question on, I'm sorry I'm not able to identify the person behind this name Xtrism. You've already explained that to me in the past, but I forget. So anyway, it doesn't matter, you can do that later. So your question about similar to Viveka discussed so in the beginning, should I assume meditating on I am not a limited being and I have full Shraddha on what the Shruti says? I mean, that's just part of it. That's not what we are currently doing. If you have seen some of the introduction to the steps of the meditation, where you you calm yourself down and so on, then of course the basic meditative steps are to do the viveka between Atma and Anatma. The Shraddha on the Shruti doesn't have to be meditated on. That is a very part and parcel of the meditation. The very fact that you are following it means that you have Shraddha. So one very interesting, if I can just comment on that, Swami Akhandananda Vaji was saying that just like desire is not something that you can command. It either happens or it doesn't. Shraddha is the same way. You cannot say, I want to have Shraddha. You can say, I want to have Shraddha, but if you don't have Shraddha, it's just like you know, and this is very similar to what our acharyas used to say. You cannot command anger. The Swamiji used to make this. He says, okay, I want all of you to become angry right now. Okay, just tell yourself, oh, I want to be angry, I want to be angry. Can you do it? No way. But anger comes all of a sudden without your invitation. Where did it come from? So similarly, any desire, I must have the desire for this, I must have the desire for this, you cannot command it. Shraddha is the same way. You cannot say, so you cannot meditate on the Shraddha. The Shraddha happens by itself. Anyway, I'm just digressing, but the meditation also has steps. First you say the viveka between Atma and Anatma, and then you go into the details of it. And this is what we've been covering, all the details of it. So at the moment we're doing pranayama, which is much more advanced than the initial stages of saying the viveka. And then your second one, finding God, means finding qualities of God. So the value of values is also a sadhana. It is not the siddha. So amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, etc. is simply the steps to find the final goal. And the final goal is that I am nityaha, shuddhaha, buddhaha, muktaha. I am free, and so this is what Bhagavad Gita teaches, and so that is the final goal. That is the quality of Ishvara, of God. And so not just the amanitvam, etc. So anyway, so that's... Poonam. Okay, sorry about that. Yes, good too. Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, then I will take your leave and we will hopefully see you next week. Hari Om.